Title: In the Shadow of Silence, Nigeria's Insecurity and the World's Ultimatum, the story the world tried to ignore until the threat of war forced them to listen. The warning that shook Africa: a burning village, a child crying, a mother screaming her son's name in the smoke. Then, the words flash on screen: if you won't protect your own people, someone else will. Donald J. Trump, November 2025. Nigeria, a land rich in oil and talent and faith, but drowning in fear. For years, the blood of its people has soaked the soil. And while the citizens cry for help, the government negotiates, not with the victims, but with the killers. This is not a story about politics. It's about what happens when silence becomes the loudest weapon of war. The fire in the north. It began quietly, a whisper terror in the northeast. A sect they called Boko Haram. They said it was small. They said it would be handled. But fear, once it finds a home, never leaves. Innocent families fled at night. Mothers carrying children on their backs. Fathers left behind to fight with sticks and prayers. One by one, towns disappeared. By the time the world looked, thousands were gone. The people asked for soldiers. They got speeches. They asked for justice. They got committees. And when they screamed for peace, they were told to be patient. Negotiating with the devil. In Abuja, the capital, meetings were held in cool air-conditioned rooms. Officials called the terrorists repentant. They offered them forgiveness, houses, jobs, and education. While victims slept in refugee camps, hungry and forgotten, the news channels carried smiling politicians saying, peace is returning to the north. But outside those walls, gunfire never stopped. In Kaduna, a bus was attacked. In Plateau, whole families were slaughtered in their sleep. In Zamfara, bandits ruled highways like kings. The people whispered, if this is peace, what does war look like? The deafening silence. The local media reported the killings in short paragraphs. No outrage, no headlines, just statistics, numbers that never stop climbing. Churches burned, mosques attacked, markets bombed. But the politicians' faces stayed calm, and the news anchors moved on. It wasn't until a foreign voice spoke that the silence broke. The American shockwave. November 1st, 2025. Across the Atlantic, U.S. President Donald Trump made a statement that rattled the world. If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, we may very well go into that disgraced country guns a-blazing to wipe out the terrorists committing these horrible atrocities. The statement spread like wildfire. From Lagos to Washington, the world gasped. Was the United States threatening war in Nigeria? Nigeria's government called it interference. But to the victims, it sounded like someone had finally heard them. For years, they cried and no one answered. Now, the most powerful man in the world was demanding action. The House of Denial. Inside Aso Rock, the government's defense was swift. Spokesman declared, there is no state-sponsored persecution in Nigeria. Our Constitution forbids it. Foreign Minister Yusuf Tuggar held a press conference, insisting that Trump's claims were exaggerated, that Nigeria was handling its problems internally. But internally, people were dying. Farmers couldn't return to their lands. Children grew up knowing the sound of gunfire better than the sound of laughter. And in the camps, widows stared the ground, whispering prayers the government no longer heard. The blood of silence. Let's go back to a village near Maiduguri. It's 2 a.m. The stars are bright. Then the sound of motorcycles cuts through the air. Dozens of men, masked, armed, shouting in the dark. Shots fired. Children running. Flames everywhere. By morning, 30 lives are gone. No police came. No soldier. The villagers buried their dead with bare hands and broken hearts. And when they called for help, the line went silent. This wasn't one isolated attack. It was a story of thousands. A country crying while its leaders negotiated. The global spotlight. Trump's threat turned Nigeria into a global talking point. The AP, Reuters, Al Jazeera, BBC, everyone was watching. Nigeria, the giant of Africa, was now being questioned. How could a land of strength become a nation of fear? And behind the scenes, World powers debated sanctions, military aid, and intervention. Some feared war. Others said, war's already here. Even neighboring countries began to worry, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon, because insecurity in Nigeria does not stay in Nigeria. It spreads, like smoke through dry grass. The turning point. For the first time, the Nigerian government was forced to move. Meetings turned into emergency deployments. Troops sent north. Funding released. Talks of reform filled the air. But the people had seen too much. They no longer trusted promises. They wanted results. A mother in Borno said, "They say they were fighting for us, but if they were, my son will still be alive." Her words echoed louder than any press release. The warning that still echoes. Trump's threat, whether diplomatic posturing or real intent, had done one thing no one else could. It forced Nigeria to face its wounds. But the deeper question remains. Why did it take a foreign voice for the government to listen to its people? Why did the blood of farmers, teachers, and children need an American headline before becoming news? It's not just about religion. It's about leadership, accountability, human life. When governments choose silence, they choose complicity. When they negotiate with killers, they abandon the living. Never again. The sun rises over the Nigerian plains. Smoke still curls from the ruins of a burnt settlement. But among the ashes, life continues. A child walks to fetch water. A father rebuilds his home. A woman sings as she cleans what's left of her doorway. Because Nigerians, they always rise. The world may threaten. The government may fail. But the people endure. And in that endurance lies the real strength of Nigeria. Not in the power of its leaders, but in the resilience of its people. We are tired of mourning, an old man says. We just want to live. His words are the story of a nation, a people too strong to break, too tired to beg, waiting for a government that remembers what it means to protect. The shadow of silence. When the government delays, lives are lost. When the powerful stay quiet, the innocent pay the price. And when justice is postponed, injustice grows roots. The world may have issued a warning, but the real battle for peace, for truth, for safety will be won or lost inside Nigeria. Because silence kills faster than any bullet. If you believe the people deserve justice, share the story. Subscribe for more. Because the stories they bury are the ones we must keep alive.